All right, everyone, welcome to Brothers and Boss Battles, a video game showdown. Today, we will be discussing the third of our three 2D platformers, and today is Donkey Kong Country. Pete, why don't you give us your initial thoughts on this game?
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country. I had never played this game before. Obviously, heard a lot about it, and I feel like it's considered by some to be on, those very awesome lists of the best games of all time. Things of that nature. I have to say, I don't really get it. It's very much like a true old school 2D platformer, and I'll say this: it as I was playing it, it felt like a lot of good work went into developing the game, but final product to me wasn't as good. So give them an A+ for giving it the good old college try. They tried to make some different mechanics and some differentiating levels, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but like none of that was really that impactful for me anyway. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say about those types of things that we'll discuss.
All right, Tom, what about you?
Yeah, so I think so. Preface: I also never played this game and have heard so many great things about it. So I was excited to play it. Now, I do think that this is a good game, and there's a lot of fun to be had in this game. But personally, I think that there are a few major issues with the game. I'll call them issues that really kind of hold it back from being the quote-unquote classic that not everybody, but that many people claim it to be.
Yeah, and I'll just say I'll make it 3 for 3. I had never played this in earnest in the past. I may have played a level or two at a friend's house, but we never had it growing up, and so we never really played it, the brothers together or anything. So I played it for the first time, and I think it's a good game. I see why people like it, but it does have a lot of the pitfalls of the games of the era, where it was just sometimes these unfair things that would knock you off the stage or kill you or something, and just got pretty frustrating. We'll get into more specifics, but those are our initial thoughts. All right, Donkey Kong Country is a 1994 platform game developed by Rare and published by Nintendo for their Super Nintendo, the SNES. And for those that don't know, Brothers and Boss Battles, a video game showdown, is our podcast here where me, Anthony, and my brothers Pete and Tom discuss video games, new and old. The way the show works is that we have a category or genre of games where we each pick a game to discuss the graphics, gameplay, effect on the gaming world, and more. After those 3 episodes are done, we have the 4th episode in that grouping called our Bro Down episode, since we're brothers, where we have a courtroom-style debate, each of us defending the game that we chose while attacking the other 2 and ultimately declaring a winner. All right, so today is Donkey Kong Country talk, going to the SNES era, which is one era up from the Mega Man 2 era that we discussed last episode, and several eras back from Celeste, which we talked about a month ago in our 2D platformer category. So let's round it out with Donkey Kong Country. Let's just, we'll give our little spoiler warning. There's not much of a deep story here. The game follows Donkey Kong and his nephew Diddy Kong as they set out to recover their stolen banana hoard from King K. Rool and his Kremlings.
So that's what the story is.
I think.
Isn't that the story to every Donkey Kong game?
Yeah.
Sure.
They really cherish those bananas. It was cool. It introduced Diddy Kong, really, and so that was a nice little feature here.
Yeah, and so part of the gameplay, one of those mechanics that I was talking about was that it's kind of like a tag team. You control both of them, and then you control one, and the other one kind of follows behind you. Mm-hmm. And if you get hit, the character you're controlling kind of leaves the map, and then you control the other one. So you kind of have two shots.
Yeah, you basically have two lives. Well, not two lives. Let me not say that because you do
Two
get lives, but
HP.
two
Two
HP.
HP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's barrels where you could
Find them again if you lose
yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other character will come back. And there were differences between Diddy and Donkey
hmm
Kong. It
Yeah,
wasn't just
that's one of the biggest things about this game. I think
yeah.
that you which was cool for a game back then. You really had to be you could be strategic in who you wanted to use. I don't think like any level was impossible with one or the other, but there were certainly some that were better to use in certain situations.
I found myself using Diddy a lot. He felt more agile, quicker, could jump a little farther, I think.
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely more agile is a good way to put it. But the thing I didn't like about him is some of the bigger bad guys he couldn't like kill with a jump to the head, which was like sort of the main attack was a jump to the head, like in classic 2D, that era of games. Um, though they
So
did
I didn't
have,
put that sorry, I didn't put that together until very late in my gameplay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Like I
really?
didn't realize that there was. I noticed it when I was, I guess, playing Diddy, and I tried to kill an enemy by jumping on them, and I wasn't able to do so. And I was
Yeah,
like, then I thought back, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure I remember jumping on one of these guys and killing them.
I
And
guess
I
you
guess I,
remembered wrong.
well, I remember doing it with Donkey Kong.
With Donkey
Oh
Kong,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because
And
I don't know
so,
if it was true of some enemies, but there were times when I probably was Diddy because I was Diddy 90% of the time. I would jump on them, I wouldn't kill them, and I was like, oh, I guess that enemy, you can't do that. You can't kill them by jumping on their head. That's what I just thought for most of the game.
oh boy. So like,
Yeah. Maybe that's why I didn't like this game.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really tell you at all. That
Yeah.
in classic games of that era, they don't really inform you about anything.
I wonder
the,
if the manual
Yeah,
would
true,
tell you.
maybe.
mm,
Oh yeah, we
maybe.
should.
So let's
Full
say what we all
disclosure. Yeah.
yeah, we all played on the Nintendo Switch, the SNES Online.
Yes.
Is that fair to
Yep.
say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
So
accurate.
so no one played on the original SNES, and as we mentioned in our intros, we didn't have an SNES growing up, and so we didn't have this game. I remember like seeing it back when I was a kid, so I must have had a friend that like had it, but I didn't really play much of it. There are some iconic like scenes and levels in this game, but just back to your point about jumping on them and not being able to kill them. That happened at some like real opportune times, like some of those mine levels where it's like small platforms and you would jump on them and you would get knocked back because you can't kill them and fall right down the ledge. So
Yeah, and I thought
you got
that
to
was
be
part of
careful.
the intention that you were going to bounce off them and you have to really time it properly where you would bounce off them and not
Yeah,
fall off.
yeah, yeah. So that was tough. Um, but yeah, so I like Donkey Kong for that. But yeah, just getting like jumping further and stuff, Diddy was much better to use.
I
Um,
also felt they had a horizontal movement ability too, right? Like Donkey Kong did his roll and he
mhm.
did a cartwheel, I think. I
Yeah,
felt like, and I think this is true, you would do the cartwheel into the jump and you would jump a little farther.
yeah, but that was also annoying because I did sort of the classic again of that era where you would almost always hold the run button like the whole game. Like I held that
Yeah. Same.
button, yeah, to jump, and I feel that. I mean, certainly mentally, it made me feel like I was jumping further, but
Yeah,
I think in reality, it actually was too.
I think
Yeah.
so too.
But it seemed worse when I was using that with Diddy because I would sometimes cartwheel off the stage into like my death. Whereas like Donkey Kong, maybe it's just not as violent's not the word, but just not as pronounced like his
Yeah.
role as opposed to the cartwheel. So I didn't feel like I was getting into that problem with Donkey Kong as much as I did with Diddy.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I agree.
But so that's a cool thing about the game. I think and you can tag in and out if you have both of them
Hmm.
with you. So it really is like almost like a true tag team. So that yeah, I can't think of many people that would have an issue with that. As opposed to it being like Mario getting a mushroom, you have the two of you working together. So that was I think a universally like liked feature of this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is cool. I'm sure for 1994 it was cool, but it's
Mhm.
not that much difference, you know. Could have been just Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, it's not like Ren and Stimpy. We talked about that in an earlier podcast where you're like using moves, tandem moves, and those moves were different depending on who you were controlling. You could play the multiplayer. Like it wasn't like that. You know, that really added an element to the Ren and Stimpy game. It didn't really do that here, in my opinion.
That's fair. They were around the same time too, right?
I think so.
It's like same generation anyway.
Yeah, it was Sega,
Yeah.
Genesis, and SNES, or SNES, as some people say.
Yes. All the cool people. Before we proceed, I feel like we're already kind of using this as a crutch, like, oh, as is typical for the time, but like, you know, not not to compare, but we just talked about Mega Man and we all kind of said how it held up really well and that came
Hmm.
out, you know, 6 years earlier than this.
Yeah.
So, you know, just for the listeners, keep that in mind. It shouldn't really be used as a crutch for the game.
Well, should we dive into one of the most annoying features of the game?
Might as well since you brought it up. Go ahead.
So, by that, I'm referring to the way in which you save your progress in
Oh,
the game.
oh, and also, like, before you go into that, we also
Sure.
have to, give full disclosure that what because we played on the Switch, we were able to use save states. So I tried not to for a while, and I did get through the first two levels without doing so, but then I just had to use save states after that. And we'll explain why.
By two levels, do you mean like
Two
the whole?
worlds,
Yeah, like
the
Two
two
worlds, yeah. Like
worlds.
I
Okay.
got through two bosses.
Yeah. Okay.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we should explain how it works. So the way you save in this game is, well, okay. So I guess you have to take a step back a little bit, but it kind of has that like that map like quality that you may remember from games like Super Mario 3 or something.
Like an overworld map.
Yeah, where you do like level 1-1, you
Hmm.
beat that, and then you go to 1-2 or whatever.
Yeah.
So as you're traveling through that map in whatever world you're in, I guess there's one save point, one spot where you can save throughout
Yeah.
each
Per
And
world.
per
Yeah, that
world.
sounds about right. Yeah.
but it's
Yeah,
never in the same like
It's not like halfway through or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
You know?
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So you have to, you know, beat several levels. Or, yeah, beat several levels before you're actually able to save your progress. And I don't know. Personally, I don't like that. I don't think you should have to replay levels that you've already beaten.
Well,
Yes,
especially in a game like that.
especially
Yeah.
3 or 4 or 5, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I had yeah, I guess and this kind of leads to another problem, like maybe the levels are too like similar, but there were times where I got to Candy's shack and that's how you save. And like would jump in the barrel and then like I played like a couple of days later and I thought like maybe it didn't save. Like I just what, did you have to like press something or just jump in the battle by a barrel?
just jump in the barrel, I think, and then it brings you to like the where you have your save data. Like I
Yeah.
guess there's
Yeah,
three,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it automatically records it. You
Oh,
don't
it
have to like press
does.
anything once you
Okay,
jump
so I
in.
guess it was there and I just was confused.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that leads to a point with this whole have to play basically 6 levels before you could save,
yeah,
where like a strategy that people would use to play to beat the game is to accumulate lives in the earlier levels, just so you had this giant stash, you know,
yeah,
of
yeah,
lives. And there's some tricks maybe we could talk about later, kind of how
yeah,
to get them quickly, but like eh, to motivate the player to feel like they have to just kind of keep replaying the easy levels to accumulate lives. That's kind of crummy.
Mm.
yeah. That is lame.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny you mentioned that because when I first started the game, it was after you guys had already played it and you had kind of given me your initial thoughts about, you know, the difficulty of the game. And so like I'm playing through the first like one or two levels and I'm like, wow, this is pretty easy. And I'm like accumulating like 20 lives and stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be fine. And then it's like, yeah, you hit a point pretty quickly into the game as a whole, where you start really blowing through all those lives. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I also want to mention related to that is so like you meet the character Funky Kong at some point, and he has like a fast travel kind of thing. Now, is that so that you can go back to like the first level and get a bunch of lives every so often?
I guess so. Or
Like
to
that's
go
what
to
that
a,
was. That's
I
what
thought
that
it
was
was
pretty much put in for.
I thought it was to get to like the previous save point.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Or that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It almost served as like an additional save point, right?
Like yeah,
Mm,
I
Because
yeah,
you
I
could go
guess.
back. You could go
but
back to the last save point. Yeah.
Okay, so you go back to the last save point, and then you just walk all the way back to where you are.
yeah, I guess you would have to
I
do
think
that.
so.
I never did that just because I was like
Me neither.
scared that it was gonna like knock out all my progress on
Yeah,
the
Yeah, and you have to replay all the levels.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, it was just so like clunky that way. I mean, it's probably just all in my head. That probably wasn't it. Otherwise, having Funky Kong was absolutely useless. So, I mean, I guess it wasn't that. But
No, but to Tom's point, I think part of that was, you're getting to a point where you have 5 levels in a row and you have, I don't know how many lives you would start with after you lost all yours, after you had to continue.
yeah, I
three
think like
maybe.
Like
three. Yeah.
three, yeah, exactly. So you maybe reach a point where it's like, I'm not going to be able to beat these 6 levels with 3 lives ever. So I have to go back and accumulate lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that being a really difficult game, like back in the day without save states.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was like a class because it's really not that long of a game if you can run through it. What is it? Like maybe 5 hours?
Less.
Yeah, it's like even less than that if you were able to, but it had all of those old game features of like things that would just hit you out of nowhere that you had no chance of knowing was going to come on the first time you
Yeah.
play. So, you definitely get hit then, or a lot of, not a lot, but part of the game is memorization, which again, a lot of those old games are that were like an hour long, but took you weeks to beat because you just had to memorize all of these different parts.
Yeah, all
That
the
w-
patterns and
yeah, the
everything.
patterns and that was, such a feature back then. And this game doesn't do that completely. It's not like an NES game or something like that, like some of those poor NES games. So it's not nearly that bad. And it did have a lot of fun things, but there's definitely elements of that here too.
Yeah, I do want to emphasize that I agree with everything you're saying there. And it wasn't only just
No.
memorizing patterns. But so you're talking about like things that would kind of basically come off the stage that you would definitely get hit by the first time. A lot of those things were at the very end of the level
Yeah, that
too.
was so
Like something
annoying.
would just run out,
You have
and it's just like
one
Well, that was
life, and
yeah.
you're
yeah,
right at the end. You could pretty much see
the exit
the
sign. Yeah.
exit sign, and then they just throw a bunch of things at you
But they,
to kill you at the end.
Yeah,
but
the
it's
worst
usually
the
just
worst
one random thing. Like
yeah, the worst
Yeah.
was I think it was Poison Pond, but it was one of the swimming
Oh, a
levels.
poison pond. I have that noted down too. Yeah,
Yeah, that I
so
think
ridiculous.
it's a very hard level to get through, but you finally get through it. And I got through it. I only had one of the two. I think it was Donkey Kong, who's a little harder to swim with, by the way, but get to the very end, dodged all the little fish-like animals and all of that were trying to hit you. And then one like torpedoes into you
speeds.
from
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from the right to the into you as you're scrolling to the right. And that killed me. And that was like my last life. And I had to do the whole thing over again. It was just the worst.
Yeah, things like
Yeah,
that are like
yeah, that's
gotcha. Like yeah,
yeah,
so
Yeah.
like not fun.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
lame.
Like that's a pure memorization thing. Like maybe not in the classic sense, but it's just like know that this thing is gonna jut out at you, like pretty much from off the screen, and then you could
Yeah, you have to know what's coming.
yeah. So like that was so annoying. And
Yeah,
then even with the and this isn't as bad, but to me one of the most iconic levels and gameplay elements of this game was when you're in the mine cart and you have to somehow make the mine cart jump by but
I
and
have
like
to say that
that
was the most fun I had. I think playing
it
the game.
was
I found those fun too. Yeah,
it's fun, but they also have those things where you really have to you wind up learning where like the hazards are, and some of them are where it's like you have to jump over a thing, but you almost if you do a regular jump, you kind of land right onto a hazard. So you got to do like a quicker jump or like a longer jump. So that also took some trial and error. Those levels too, more fun than Poison Pond, but yeah,
Yeah, usually I'm not a fan of the like having to have a certain sensitivity when you press the jump button because that
Yeah.
never really works that great. But that does speak to the game. It's 1994, and it wasn't just a jump button. You could
Yeah.
kind of jump a little or jump a lot.
Yeah.
At least on the mine carts. I'm
Hmm.
not sure. Was it true when you were just on foot? I can't remember.
I think so. I will give it kudos as we gave kudos to Donkey Kong 64 and we covered that in our inaugural episode of this podcast that in the swimming levels there was no, having to get air or bubbles to keep breathing.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah.
So another big thing in this game was like these I think they called them bonus stages or whatever, bonus levels. And they were kind of like 10 seconds each, but hidden within a lot of the levels are these bonus things where you could collect extra bananas maybe or something. And I think the reason why I thought of it is because I think I read that the underwater levels don't have any for whatever
Mm,
reason.
okay.
Yeah, that was when you collect like three of the
Yeah.
specific animals, right?
No, that's something different.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was a different one, but there's also like sometimes you get a barrel and break like the side of a wall or something, and
yeah, oh,
then you
yeah,
could
yeah.
go into
Yeah.
those and like
Yeah.
collect a bunch of bananas and there were other ones where like you'd be fighting an enemy and like they would spit up like the bunch of bananas when you hit them, and then eventually if you didn't get hit during that whole sequence, you'd get all of the bananas for that little sequence.
Yeah, and then in each level you could collect the Kong, K-O-N and G
Right.
letters. And I think some of those bonus levels had one of the letters to spell Kong.
There was also the red balloons you can get.
Those are just extra lives, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And then collecting 100 regular bananas gets you another life too.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of collectibles and hidden stuff, which is always cool in games.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
wasn't being
No,
sarcastic.
no, I know.
No, it's true. But
So no, it
the
is cool.
the hidden
And
stuff was
yeah,
too hidden though, in my opinion. So it
Yeah,
the Kong stuff was cool. The Kongs getting the Kong letters was funny. It was fun.
was fun. Yeah, yeah, I guess. Because that was in most levels it was apparent. And sometimes it was tricky to get and you have to
Yeah.
maybe you didn't want to try to get it, but
Some of them I
that
think
was
you
fun.
almost had to like kill yourself to get, and
yeah.
then like there were some that I think you had to like jump into a cavern and just like lose your life there, but you would
No,
have it once you got it. You don't think
I
so?
don't think so. No,
There
so
was
so
all
so
right.
this is part of what I was about to say. Like, to get to a lot of secrets, like the bonus levels, or even maybe to collect certain things, it was basically like there was maybe a platform that was under the screen that you couldn't see, and you just had to
Oh.
kind of trust it was there. Or like
Ah.
in one level, there was a barrel, a barrel that shoots you up,
Yeah.
and you could basically at the very bottom of the screen, it's like a dark background. You could see like the top of the barrel.
Mm.
And that happens when you're like jumping across ropes, avoiding enemies. So like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're never even looking down there. And even if you are, you have to kind of squint to see that there's something there. It's like things like that. Like if I didn't have I mean, I did not get a high percentage when I played this game, but if I wanted to, like to figure that out without the internet would have just took ages, you know?
Yeah. And just a lot of trial and error, like more so than we're even talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that you've mentioned that percentage, I was surprised by like when I finished the game, they tell you like what your completion percentage is and how low mine was. I was like, did I even beat the game?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
What was yours in? I don't have mine directly.
Mine was 44%.
Yeah, I think I was around there. That rings a bell, like the 40, mid 40s.
I got 43%.
Yeah, so we're
So
all
I
kind of there.
believe the minimum is 39%,
Okay.
which is one for each level and then the final boss battle, I think.
Uh,
And for each like bonus level or something that you complete encounter, I don't think you have to
Mhm.
successfully do it. I think you get an extra percentage.
Mhm.
does like so collecting the Kong, does that up your percentage? Or does that count as a collectible?
What does the I feel like it should, but I thought I collected more than
Yeah.
four, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, me too. Especially early on, you could really like get them a lot.
Yeah. You get them. You can really get them.
You can really get them. Yeah, just another one of those sort of like gimmicky levels was that I think it was Blackout Basement, where it's like you have to kind of hit the lights so that they stay on, otherwise you're kind of traversing it just in darkness. And then I think it's that one. It's one of them where it's like dark and light. There might have been one other one in the game, but where it's like you do the one final jump at the end and it's like an enemy hits you with a barrel or something that you can't even see. And it's just it's like not as bad as that swimming poison pond level, but it was
Yeah.
still like annoying.
Was that loopy lights?
Maybe. Yeah, that was the other like lights on and off one. So I don't remember exactly, but it was one of those
Yeah.
two.
Then there was another one. I don't know if it wasn't lights, it was stop and go station.
Yeah, that
And
one was hard. Or one of those levels that utilized that mechanic was really hard.
yeah. So you would like jump on a switch to stop, and then I think the enemy stopped moving, right?
Yeah.
And then that
Either
would
they
only
stopped
last.
moving or went really slow, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that would kind of would last for a couple of seconds, and then you have to get
Yeah.
another one,
One
another
of them you
switch.
had to like push that tire thing, like to use as a jumping platform to reach the switch. You know, like
Yeah,
those
maybe.
tires?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Yeah, they were in every level.
Yeah. And like, to get them to go where you want was like so difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
And
were tough.
sometimes you were trying to like move it, and then it would fall off the
Yeah, yeah.
edge. You're like, oh well.
Yeah, that that happened a lot. The other one that was this wasn't really it wasn't like the level itself wasn't bad, but like the snowy levels like had so much like snow effect on it. It was difficult to see. I mean, that was purposeful, but like it was a little annoying too. Like you're getting pelted in the face in a blizzard.
Yeah, that was annoying. A lot of annoying things.
It was fun just to like kind of like take it back to Donkey Kong 64 though. It was cool to see like where it kind of came from. Because obviously Donkey Kong has existed before the series of games, but like this was really what led to, you know, the current iterations of Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong 64 and stuff. So like, the barrels where they shoot you up and like sometimes you would have to use the barrels to shoot diagonal and get you to another platform like that kind of reemerged in Donkey Kong 64 and like the bonus levels and all of that. So that was cool. And everything down even to Cranky Kong, like and having
Yeah, I
him
was
in the
gonna
game and
say
stuff. So like that was and all the other Kongs, Candy and
funky. Yeah,
Funky. So
Yeah. The
that was
animal
cool.
helpers too.
hmm And a
Like
lot of the
all,
enemies. I mean, a lot
yeah.
of the enemies are the same too.
true. Yeah. So just going back, collecting the Kong spelling give you an extra life.
Oh, okay.
So so that's not trivial. There's motivation to collect them.
Yeah, yeah. But so it wouldn't make sense to kill yourself to get one of them.
No,
To get one of the letters.
no. So you talked about the animal helpers to move on, and we could talk about kind of how that was. But you would enter once you collected three. What do you
Em-
want to call them?
Emblems that look like them.
Emblems. Yeah. Then you would enter this bonus stage where it was like you had like a minute maybe, and it was just like
Yeah, a bunch of
lines
bananas.
and lines of bananas. So you would maneuver around with them, and you could collect bananas, and you could get an extra, probably extra life or two. But then when you exited that bonus part, it would take you back to the last checkpoint or to the beginning of the stage, which is really dumb. It didn't take you back to where you.
Uh,
I didn't even remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so
is dumb.
that was stupid.
It's like, let's punish you for getting this
Yeah,
reward.
yeah,
I guess
I mean,
they didn't have any way to like put you in a random spot.
right. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, a lot of these games are like collectibles, so it's just sort of like, oh, you collected this, now go back to the level, maybe you missed something. But it's probably more like what you said. It's just sort of like we had no other way to do this, so this is what we're doing.
Yes. Yeah, so there were four, right?
Animals?
Rambi, yeah,
It was the rhinoceros,
yeah,
the
Swordfish.
frog, the swordfish, the frog, and the like ostrich.
yeah. So Rambi Rhino, Engarde the fish, Winky the frog, and Espresso the ostrich.
So like I feel like the ostrich and the frog were basically the same where you could like you just jump higher Like the frog wasn't like I don't remember
Yeah.
ever using it in like a water level, like you use the frog suit in Super Mario 3. Like it wasn't like
No, no,
that.
no. The fish was in the water level,
Yeah, so it was really just to jump higher. But it also I hate
which is valuable in a
yeah,
platformer.
but the way those
Yeah,
frogs move in these games is so tough. It's like so
those frogs.
staggered. Yeah, well, in Super
Those
Mario
frogs
3,
in all these games.
when you use the frog suit in Super Mario 3 on land, it was awful.
Well, yeah,
But
you're supposed to
but
use it
I
anyway.
digress.
When you use these frogs. That's like
So
a
what was
common gamer gripe.
we maybe we'll have a mid-episode filler question about what your favorite animal to use.
I think that sounds like a great idea. I was thinking the same thing.
And speaking of, we'll be right back. All right, welcome to our mid-episode filler Would You Rather question and answer portion of the episode. I think let's start with last week's question when we covered Mega Man 2, and we will be giving our answers to that question, where we asked, what power would you rather have? Woodman's Leaf Shield, Heatman's Atomic Fire, or Flashman's Time Stopper? Tom, why don't you start us off with this?
I would rather have Heatman's atomic fire. I think the ability to produce heat and flame be very useful in practical situations, not for anything bad, of course.
If you're like stranded on an island, you could like
Yeah.
create a fire very easily.
Yeah, and then think of how much you can save on heating costs and
That'd be nice.
whatnot.
All right, Pete.
I was thinking I would rather have the leaf shield. I don't
You
know, I
tell.
mean-
You tell.
I imagine just having an extra layer of protection from injuries. Imagine all the medical expenses you could save on. Oh,
Ooh, that's a good one. That's expensive.
yeah.
All right, and I will make it a three-way draw because I would pick Flashman's Time Stopper. I think the ability to stop time for everything around you other than yourself would be quite useful. Time is very expensive.
But you can't switch to any other powers.
True, but I wouldn't have any. This is just which would you rather have. So which one would you rather have? So I'm picking that one.
Good point. Good point.
All right, well, there you have it. Thank you for those who participated online and stuff. We generally put these polls up on our Instagram and X accounts at Bros Boss Battles, BROS Boss Battles. Catch us there or on Twitch or YouTube at the same handle or at our website, brothersandbossbattles.com. All right, and for this week's mid-episode filler Would You Rather question, we are talking about Donkey Kong Country. And we would like to know which animal buddy would you rather have on your side? The first is Rambi the Rhinoceros. Second is Engarde the Swordfish. Or would you rather have Winky the Frog? Let us know your thoughts again on Instagram and X at Bros Boss Battles. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you get this podcast to hear the answers to that question next episode. All right, and for now, back to our regular episode on Donkey Kong Country. All right, so we just did our mid-episode filler stuff, talking some Donkey Kong Country. What else should we say about this game? I think I'd like to actually kick it off with sort of a graphics discussion. It doesn't have to be a deep dive discussion, but did you guys find this game very dark? Like not in a metaphysical sense, but like in an actual sort of visual sense. I just found like a lot of the levels like very dark, not sort of like bright colors that you would think a Donkey Kong Country game or a Donkey Kong game would have. And I don't know if that's just a factor of, I don't know if that was a choice. I don't know if that was just the graininess of the systems back then. But not to start comparing yet, but you look at Mega Man 2, which was years before this, and this game, and I felt like that was fairly bright, despite the primitive graphics, and I don't know. I didn't like that choice if it was a choice in this game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do feel like it was just a choice. Because there were some levels that were actually very bright. It kind of looked. I'm trying to remember which ones they were.
Yeah, I don't know. I even
Maybe
felt like
like
the jungle level.
Millstone Mayhem maybe was,
Mm,
but a couple of them were kind of like a sandy, beigey kind of color. But
yeah,
I agree with you. A lot of them were darker.
yeah,
You know, it's just I was just trying to illustrate the point that they were capable of making a
yeah.
bright level.
Yes, I didn't love that.
I mean, underwater it's going to be dark, makes sense. When you're in the mines, it's going to be dark, makes sense. So
Yeah, but
no, I'm with you. I just think it was a choice, and maybe it did take away from the experience a little because, like you said, you're almost expecting a little bit more of a peppy kind of feel
yeah,
for the game.
yeah.
Even like in the jungle,
Right.
it was like darker, like not vibrant colors like you might expect. So yeah, I mean, I see your point there for sure.
Yeah, even in the jungle, you wouldn't expect it to be super bright
Yeah, but just like even
because of
like
all
the
those
green.
trees and things.
But the green of the trees would be like lush and bright, I feel, especially
Yeah.
in a video game.
I think the graphics were pretty well regarded.
Yeah.
I was reading that it's one of the first games, like one of the first like home console games to have pre-rendered 3D graphics, like in the background and stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of detail going on in the background.
Yeah,
Even the characters and the enemies themselves were fairly detailed, I feel.
yeah. I thought the graphics were good, but so I was just like looking up other games that came out this same year, and a couple of them that caught my eye. I mean, these were for Genesis, but Streets of Rage 3 and
Mm.
Sonic and Knuckles. I feel like those graphics, if you look at them, just as good, if not better, than Donkey Kong Country.
Oh yeah.
You know, and those are two very popular, you know, games that
Sonic and
I
Knuckles was way brighter and more colorful.
and faster.
Hmm.
Yeah, true.
So those are two very successful games as well. So maybe just comparing Donkey Kong Country to other Elite games, but I wasn't playing Donkey Kong Country. I was like, wow, these are the graphics from 1994. That's amazing.
I'll give you that.
So what did you guys think of the enemies in this game?
I was annoyed by them.
There's a lot of tough ones. Those like
Yeah,
hornets were tough. The big guys that Diddy couldn't kill by jumping on them were tough. That we
yeah, they were
talked
tough.
about. Yeah.
I don't know, but I didn't like. I guess we're talking about the Hornets. Like first time they were introduced, they were moving like up and down, and then they're moving
Yeah.
left and right, and then they're moving in like
Circular
circles.
patterns.
Like
Yeah.
it's like, and then they're moving in zigzags. Like it just
Yeah.
got like more and more ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they had to kind of up the ante each level, otherwise they'd
Yeah,
be a little.
exactly. But like that's what they did to make it more difficult. Like it was not that interesting, I guess.
What do you think of the boss battles since we're talking about enemies?
Yay!
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up next.
I I thought they were pretty easy, like
Yes,
comparatively.
yes. They're the
Yeah,
easiest part of the game.
yeah. Especially they would always start you out with both of them. So if you didn't have like your companion Kong at that point, there'd be a barrel like as the boss battle
Yay!
started.
I think for the most part they were all just kind of jumping on heads, right?
Yeah, they had funny
No,
names
there
though.
was one that was like the dumb drum or something.
Oh, you had
Like
to like
it was like
avoid it when it fell.
yeah,
It
like
would try
poured
to
out
crush you.
regular
Yeah.
kremlins or
Oh
something
yeah,
that you
yeah.
and then you had to avoid it when
Yeah, that one was cool because it was different.
yeah.
A lot of them are. There's really naughty and very naughty, spelled with a GNAT.
Yeah, so those are like the beavers basically.
Yeah, those are the beavers.
That was the
Yeah,
first one and
really naughty
one
and very
I want
naughty.
to say the fourth one and obviously fourth
Yeah,
one was more difficult.
right. So those are like two of basically the same enemy, and then there was Master Necky and Master Necky Senior, which were like almost like huge ostrich type animals that you would just really see the neck at the neck and the head, and you'd have to jump on the
The
head
head,
like.
yeah.
And so sometimes you had to get like pretty high up and stuff. So those were
They were pretty unremarkable, the boss battles, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, the only one, I mean, then you end the game fighting King K. Rool, of course.
Yeah,
Um,
that one was cool.
yeah, that one was cool, but also had one of those little annoying things at the end. And this might be the most spoilery of spoilers. So, if you don't want to know, then just, for this 30-year-old game, then just, hide your ears. I don't know. You beat him, so you think, and then the credits start to roll, and it's not a lot of credits, and then all of a sudden he like jumps back up and attacks you. So it's like I think that I forget. I remember commenting. Oh no, I think I don't I think I caught it or didn't lose completely on it. But I remember after beating that, commenting via text to Pete and Tom here that like imagine like it's just like one final screw you for this game of like things you couldn't count for that would come back and haunt you kind of a thing. So
Yeah,
like that was like one last thing to do it to you.
yeah. I mean, we were talking about how they get many of the levels they did that right at the end where they would
Yeah.
shoot something at you. So I guess they had to do that one last time.
Yeah. So like
If I
that was
remember correctly, there was a save point. I think the just prior to the level before King K. Rool. So if you had died, lost all your lives, I think you would have to play that last level over again only, and
mm,
then him.
I think I think I had a save state like not even
Yeah,
on the
me too.
world map, like literally as the match started.
Yeah, me too. I had many saves.
Yeah, I was really using them. This game would just take a very long time without it.
And it's not just the time; it's just the enjoyment and the frustration.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about, you beat 4 levels and then you die, and then you got to start all over again, and then or you might reach to a point where I have to go accumulate lives from an earlier stage.
Yeah.
Not cool. So we talked about the graphics. I also wanted to talk about the music because
Mhm.
that's if there was one thing I heard about this game, having never played it, it was that the music was so fantastic.
Mm.
I didn't really find it to be that great.
I agree. Because this was one of the things that like people always really comment on the music and how elite it is. And to me, it just I mean, it was good. It wasn't bad. Like I wasn't annoyed by it like Tomba, but
No, but Tama had like music that I would actually want to seek out and listen to.
well, yeah, I know.
I agree with you that it wasn't bad or anything, and like if it's in the background,
Yeah. The
it's
quality
okay. It's
was
good.
the quality was fine. And, like for some of the levels it was fine, but like there was some levels that were really like I to me felt weird and out of place. Like
Yeah.
the water levels felt very like almost eerie. Like not
Hmm.
calming, like sort of like eerie, like you were walking into like a haunted mansion kind of thing. Like it was
Yeah,
just very weird.
I totally agree. It
I
wasn't
thought that
just
was
that those levels too. There was a few pieces that kind of gave that similar feeling.
yeah. That also
Yeah.
didn't like I don't know why they made this game so dark or tried to. Like I mean it's too like very
Um,
cartoony like Donkey Kong Bros kind of a thing and it's just like I don't know. Like if
yeah,
any game should be like a fun, lighthearted game, I mean their whole mission is to save bananas for goodness sake. So I mean it's like clearly you're just like joking
maybe they wanted
around
to
here.
counterbalance.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you guys remember, but the Crankies song was my favorite. You could go back and listen to
Mm,
it. Listeners could go back and listen to it. But that was like the one song or one music piece, whatever you want to call it, that kind of enjoyed.
yeah. There was no DK rap though, so
So therefore, it was not as good as Donkey Kong 64 music.
that is for sure. Any other standout levels, good or bad, to you guys? We kind of touched on some of them as we went along, as opposed to holding it all to the end, like I feel like we usually do. But if there's any other kind of points you guys want to make on that,
No, and that's part of the problem with the game. A lot of the levels didn't stand out. I just like I said, I just felt like you were kind of going through the same motions, but then the enemies started coming at you faster and moving in
hmm
circular motions.
yeah, I mean, like the broad categories were different. Like there's the snow levels, there's the cart levels, there's the jungle levels. So like there was enough differentiation there, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to. I don't
Oh, I thought
remember.
of something.
Yeah.
You know what's cool when you were on like the moving platform and you had to like, didn't you have to collect the fuel or something like to
Oh
power it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was tough.
That was
That
tough.
was
That was
tough,
kind
but
of
it was a good
cool.
tough. Like it was sort
Yeah,
of like
yeah,
doable, and if you
Yeah.
concentrate, like I died a few times on that. Like there's one part like you have to there's a few parts, but one part in particular you have to like jump off it, go on like a set platform, and then jump, get the fuel and jump back on
right,
like that.
right.
That you really
Yeah.
have to time.
Yeah.
Um,
That got me too.
yeah, I think there was also a part where you had to jump on one of the ubiquitous tires that were in this game, and like you get to the platform. And I think you had to, and speaking of hornets, I think you had to avoid like hornets and then jump onto the platform again. So there was a lot of that. And, but yeah, no, that was a good level.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted
And,
that one. Yeah,
yeah. And I think there was a fair amount of stuff like that in the game, like where difficult but
Yeah.
not annoying and like actually like fairly difficult, right?
Yeah.
Fairly meaning like it's not unfair.
Yeah.
yeah. I guess you're right. The problem
This is
is if that
fairly
was,
difficult.
if that was 80% of the game, and then 20% of the game is, the stupid unfair part,
Getting shot
that
by a
makes you have to,
cannon at the end of the level
yeah, that makes you have to
that you can't see.
replay the other 80% over and over
Yeah,
again.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Like, look, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, this should have saves every 2 seconds or save states, but like I think the saves are too far apart in this game.
No, the game
Yes.
should save after each level. You shouldn't have to go to a place to do it.
I think as it was just hard back then to justify to people pay 60, $65 for a game that with that you'd beat it in like a weekend.
Yeah, I guess. I will say, to the game's credit, there is a lot of hidden stuff and
Yeah.
extra stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and that's part of the issue with the game that I have is that I didn't feel the freedom to explore that because it was so
yeah.
difficult, and you know.
That's true. That's a good point. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, if exploring was going to put you in peril, and then therefore you'd have to start 5 levels back because you just tried to explore something, that's kind of hurting that
Yeah, it would
exploration.
Yeah.
it would have taken me 100 hours to beat the
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
and
But I do want to say,
you get your money's worth, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah. But I do want to say with regards to that comment about like, charging people to play or to buy a game that you can beat in a weekend. I think the kind of culture around games at that point in time was that when you bought a game, you expected to play it multiple times.
Hmm.
It's not just like, oh, I beat this game, I'm never going to play it again.
Yeah.
Like when you bought a game back then, you were, I mean, there are people who have probably beat Mega Man 2 like, 100
Yeah.
times.
Oh, yeah. No,
that's a
it's
great
true.
point.
Not to
It's
compare.
true. Not the no, but any of those games. Yeah, Super Mario 3, that's not in our
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
schedule, like so like
Sonic, like you
yes,
mentioned.
exactly. I didn't know those
Yeah,
games were
and
beatable, but okay, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and this game, to that regard, this game gave the player a lot of motivation to replay it and try to get a higher percentage and find
Replay
those
value.
secrets.
Yeah, no, that's true, but
I hope I get to defend this game.
Because of the replay value.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is the way games were back then. There was no like 50-hour game that's gonna save for you every 2 minutes so that you're really just playing the 50 hours. So they made the games hard because they were short, and like that's the way
Yeah,
it
but
needed to be. And I will say this game is beatable as opposed to like some of those NES hard games that were nearly impossible. So like it would certainly have taken us a lot longer without save states, but the game itself is
yeah,
beatable.
it's beatable. Yes, it's beatable, but
It's beatable
it just
without like, Game Genie or
no,
like,
I know. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But I think like at this point in our lives where we're busy with
yeah.
other commitments and jobs and whatnot, we don't really have that time, or at least personally, I don't want to be spending all that time memorizing every single enemy location and where they're going to pop out just to
but that's
beat
not the
these levels.
problem. The problem is memorizing the enemy location, you're dying, replaying 4 levels that you already beat, and then getting a couple of cracks at the part you didn't beat. And then if
Yeah.
you die again, you have to
Well,
replay those 4 levels
But
again.
I
yeah,
think that
that's that
those
save
yeah, I mean
the save issue.
those levels aren't so hard where like once you learn the pattern you should beat it every time. You know, it's like
Yeah,
some of
you're
the
right.
NES games were like close to impossible even if you knew the pattern. Like this was not. Like this was okay, you died, you'd learn the pattern, the next time you go you do it. And it wasn't like that completely because I've definitely died more than once at many levels in this game. So
Yeah, you're right. I see your point.
you know what I mean? It's like if it's gonna take you if you're gonna learn the pattern and it's still gonna take you 25 times to beat it just because of, you know, skill level or other glitches or unfairness, then it's like fine, you could just restart at that particular point. But if you're just gonna die once and then beat that level, then what's that gonna add a half hour to the game? You know, that's not
Yeah,
really what the developers were intending there. So,
yeah.
I
I
mean,
guess every time you had to replay a level that you already beat, like if you were really good, you could get past the level in
oh
a
yeah,
minute, you know?
yeah. All of these games that like are like old timey hard, it's just fun to like go online and watch like speedrunners like beat it in a half hour.
Yeah. No, I know it's amazing. 'Cause when we say, "Oh, it's beatable," like
Yeah, they're like, this is the
every game
easiest
is,
game ever. What are you talking
yeah,
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 about?
yeah, yeah. But those speedrunners who put videos on YouTube, you know, they're the type of people who played the game
100.
hundreds of
Yeah,
times and
yeah,
beat it hundreds of times and just have it memorized where it's like
yeah,
not even a skill thing for them anymore. It's just,
yeah. Muscle memory.
yeah.
yeah. But I don't know. The game really did great. So it's from what I read, the third best-selling SNES game.
Do you know what it's behind?
Yeah, Super
Oh,
Mario World and Super Mario All Stars. So
yeah,
it's the best non-Mario selling
yeah, yeah,
game.
yeah. Super Mario World is a very highly touted one. Some think the best Mario game ever, but I digress again. So that's cool. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it really kicked off the modern era of Donkey Kong. It revived sort of an old character and put it into the new a new light that people clearly liked. I mean, they made two sequels to this game. Then you had Donkey Kong 64, and you had others in the series in the recent Switch 2 game, Donkey Kong, what is it? Bonanza?
Bonanza. No, I mean I love Donkey Kong. Like I like them in Super Smash
Ah,
Brothers.
man, you beat me to it. I was just gonna say it.
And
Damn, we got almost to the end of the episode.
yeah, I always liked him to use him in Mario Party when he was in those. So
Mhm.
just to think, without Donkey Kong Country, would Donkey Kong character be what he is today?
I
Probably
don't
not.
think so.
Big impact on the gaming world, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say. All right. If there's nothing else to add, we can begin our final thoughts. Pete, why don't
I'll
you
go.
start us off?
Yeah, I mean, the game does have a lot of kind of cool, interesting things going for it, but I really can't get over some of the major hurdles of frustration playing this game. And yeah, that's mostly what we've kind of just been talking about and talking about throughout the episode with the many levels between saving and having and like just kind of a lot of the random stuff happening to kind of catch the player off guard and just having to replay levels over and over again until you beat that one part that you couldn't. Also we're talking about the graphics and the music were highly lauded, and the graphics were good. Comparing them to other games, I don't think it's anything over the top great, and the music was really underwhelming from what I was expecting. So overall, honestly, I think you could skip this one. I'm not gonna recommend it.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna go next. So I think this game does have a lot of charm and it has a lot of good parts. It introduced Diddy Kong, kind of had that cool tag team element to it. It has some cool mechanics, even though some of the levels do wind up blending into each other. Uh, I'll say this just from a personal anecdotal story. There are sometimes games, either for this podcast or just games that I play, where it's like when I sit down and have some time and I was like, okay, I'm gonna play that game again. It's just like I don't want to turn it on, and then I turn it on and I play and I have fun doing it. But like there are games like that. I have to say I really didn't feel that for this. Like I didn't have like the most fun in the world playing it, but when I was like just sitting on the couch like at night just took out my Switch and played it. I was like, this is fun, you know. And then you get frustrated and want to throw the Switch out the window in certain levels or whatever. But for the most part, it was like there wasn't like that sort of, oh, I gotta play this sort of mentality with this. So I liked it. It's tough, but it's sort of borderline, but because it's such a classic, I am going to recommend people play this. I will say as a caveat to that, I would play it on the Switch so you can use save states if you want to just kind of get the feel of the game, and then maybe go back afterwards and try to beat it without it once you get a little familiar with it. It's with the plethora of games and just responsibilities people have, and just having more access to more games and stuff. You don't want to spend, I feel, so many hours just running through this game and dying a bunch of times and having to replay levels. But with the save states, it is manageable and fun. A classic, and as Pete said, it had great effect on the gaming world, so you should play it.
So you're
All right.
recommending to play it twice, once to get familiar with save states, and then to go back and do it
Well,
legitimately.
maybe
Ooh.
they'll like it so much they'll want to go back. But I would say I'm recommending to play it once with save states. That's my recommendation. All right, Tom, finish us off.
Good comments all around, and I agree with pretty much all of it. It was fun. I had fun playing this game a lot of the time. Until I wasn't having fun with some of those really frustrating points. But I mean, it's challenging for sure. And if you're into that kind of thing, having like a real challenge, then this game is for you. I think there's still a big audience for gamers like that. Having said that, I think I'm gonna recommend it too, just because of the classic nature of the game, and it's there is fun. There is fun to be had there. A lot of the game was entertaining. If you can just get past the those frustrating aspects, you'll have a pretty good time with this one. Especially if you have some free time and can really devote the necessary time to learning the game.
All right.
So
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I just I just didn't like. I felt that wasn't conclusive, my
Neither did
statement.
I.
So
That's why I waited so long.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna recommend it. And enjoy, and don't get too frustrated.
All right, there you have it. Donkey Kong Country. There's the brothers review of that. Make sure to check us out on Instagram, X, Twitch, and YouTube at Bros Boss Battles. That's BROS Boss Battles. Our website, brothersandbossbattles.com. And make sure to like and subscribe wherever you get this podcast so that you will get noticed when we have our next episode, which will be our Bro Down episode regarding our 2D platformers. Make sure to check us out. See you then.